Welcome to the freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Oh, hey folks, dude here, coming yet again, an iteration of Dude After Dark. This one, of course, we're now talking about usual stuff. If you guys could give me like an idea on like level checks, like how the mic is sounding, I actually do have a different microphone set up this time. Hopefully it sounds better than the last time. Last time it was kind of doing that whole, kind of popping in way too. It's called clipping. And literally what it is I have cranked up my, verbose, usual, way too much stuff. And it's gone full on. Okay, I thought we could go 5 minutes into the show without Sound Guy pulling out that soundbite. Anyway, so looking at things as it is, I am now hopefully live 5x5. Things are working out, doing what they need to be doing. I'm now going to put myself over onto the other side of the aisle so I can see what's going on. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. If you're doing so, great stuff. If you are, if you're not actually in the chat room, that's fine. I mean, you're still here. I am actually working now currently on acquiring newer technology, hopefully somewhat more improved technology. Technically, what it is, the whole technological side of things is I was running my home computer, which I still do run. That's actually my interrogatory with Sound Guy. And of course, he can basically, do those things. I see it pop up. We have these, like linked together. But the actual internet side of things, Sound Guy, it's just not working. And I cannot begin to tell you why, but
it was at this moment that he knew.
Why? It's spicy.
I've fallen. And I can't get up.
Okay, I really, really don't know about any of that side, Sound Guy. I mean, if they're going to go with the technology of things, it's just, no, it's not me. It's not horses, okay? Stop. No, it's not that at all. It's simply just not doing it. Has this computer gone the way of the dodo? I don't know about all that, but technology-wise, it is not doing what I need it to do. So unfortunately, it is not even going online. As soon as I click the button, the computer just says something merely to the effect of, says, "What, Sound Guy?"
Oh my.
Yeah, it tries to go online and promptly just eats too much technology and goes. Yeah. So anyway, it's me having to do other technology, and of course cheating like crazy, utilizing the clone of my primary phone, which is a Note 9. So literally what I'm doing here is I'm using it on the Note 9. You can see actually, reflection therein, pointing to the phone and everything. So anyway, that is the technology that I'm currently utilizing, is I'm actually using a smartphone, which is why you get that kind of weird thumbnail where it basically is just like, here's your channel. Unfortunately, I can't change that. So, like I said, I am looking at other technology, and some of the stuff I'm looking at, I'm not going to spend, $1,500 to go, I got to have the most ridiculous gaming computer ever, and the thing has to be, like, unbelievably just, forthright and completely bonkers. I really, truly don't need that, okay? I don't need something to just go, I'm the most ultimate computer ever! Sound Guy, no, okay? It's not that. I look at some of those prices, and it's just... Yeah, it's really, oh no. I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna spend $1,500 for some ridiculous bloody damn gaming computer that's like whiz bang, because I really don't do online gaming. That whole 60 frames per second thing literally makes me nauseous. I mean, I'm just looking at it and it's just like, no, there's something about it because me being dyslexic or something, it just doesn't jive. So literally what happens is I'm looking at it and it's just like, I start feeling like, literally like, kind of like one of those almost spatially things, kind of where, the world is not quite lining up with like technology and you're just going, the world is moving around too much. And that's what it's coming from. Now, that's the weird thing is I really don't get motion sickness. And obviously, I go on cruises, the boat moves around and it really doesn't bother me. I mean, I might get a little bit of a flashback later on. I might be on the computer doing something and it's like, wait a minute, the world's not moving. Stop, inner ears, stop. Even though we got used to the motion, the world's not doing that. Patriot Fever reporting in. Chow Hall happily watching New York Attorney General James eat crow across the way. Yeah, that's wow. That was just not good. So what can you say on that one? But he's now eating crow. That must have been a very, very juicy crow. Anyway, so hopefully everything's working out okay on on your side of things. Like I said, I'm still working on technology, trying to get things to work better. Hopefully the microphone that I'm currently using is a bit better. Literally what it is I'm cheating. I literally just plugged in like a headset, earbuds, and that's currently what I'm rolling with. So hopefully that does work. I'm going to cheat this phone off to the side. So, if I get like, ride requests from Uber, it pops up and it's going, hi, you want work? It's like, yeah, I want work, okay? I want work. Give me work. Sound guys, stop. I want work, okay? I don't want to basically just sit around and relax, don't do it, fart. Yeah, thanks, sound guy. It's actually been a while since he's been in the fart catalog. Sound guy. Sound guy. Stop. Sound guy. Okay. Let's clear the air, shall we say. No, go for it. Mrs. Dude's asking me food questions. Appreciate it, sound guy. We should try podcast sometime. Watch the FCC melt. Actually, you know what? I think right now the FCC is probably maintaining a case of very. Yeah, they're trying to hold it in, and well, it's just. Okay. Anyways, the FCC right now, I think, besides like Voice of America and those other organizations in the government that thought that they were all that in the cat's pajamas, literally now know that stuff is not going to work out for them because, well, no, it's not meow. It's not meow, sound guy. Those guys are knowing, yeah, it's getting to be not good to be those guys. Anyway, way, shape, and form which we find ourselves. I may as well just dive into the news here because Sound Guy's having way too much fun with Sound Guy.
Sounds like somebody's got a case of the.
Just give me 1 second here. I need to chase a kitty. All right. Kitty now chasing. I literally bounced something off him. It's like, oh, dog toy. Boop. Hopefully he's going to be quiet now. He was sitting outside my bedroom upstairs going, "Let me in, let me in." No, it was not that nice. No, it was more, yeah, it was getting to be really, sound guy. Yeah, it was getting to be really, anyway, I have no clue what the heck he's going on about. Anyway. It almost sounds like a Star Wars sound effect when he does that. Anyway, cat lasers. Okay, we've obviously been taken over by the felines now. Stop. Sound guy. Just stop, okay? Stop. Jeez. Okay, anyway, look it over. It has gotten to be so blanking hilarious with some of the memes coming out now for Cory Booker. My favorite one so far that I posted up on Facebook a couple days back was somebody posted it up. They're now showing pictures of him like all, very gesticulating, mad, angry, call it what you will. Stop calling me dollar store Obama. I cannot do it justice. Some of the pictures, man, it's just absolutely blanking hilarious. This one really kind of chaps my butt a little bit. This is going to be one of those cases of the U.S. mainstream media giving aid and comfort to a dirtbag. It doesn't matter what color his skin tone is. This guy is just a dirtbag. So we're talking about Carmelo Anthony. And literally what this guy did was the news stories have been, very, held back on what the guy actually was doing. It's just like, well, he was just at a track meet and he got jumped on, so he defended himself. No, that's not the case. This guy was literally sneaking in, and they literally had these tents that were set up for cover at an event. So this guy was like sneaking in, sidling in, looking around, scoping out the scene, and rifling through people's stuff and stealing. So one of the guys there was like, dude, you got to go. You can't stay here. You got to move somewhere else. And was like captain football team or something like so. Big, strong dude. Basically pushed him. It's like, you got to go. You just got to leave. I don't even know if it was like aggressive. It was more of in a case like, man, you got to go. You got to leave. And the guy's like, touch me again. You'll see what happens. He reached in his bag, pulled out a knife, stuck the guy in his heart, and killed him right there. Now, he was a twin of the guy that survived. So literally this guy's watching his twin literally bleeding out in front of him, passed away within like 30 seconds. As this guy tried to stash the knife somewhere under the stands and make a getaway. Well, they caught him. So he had $1 million in bond, and the judge being, well, probably somewhere on the, let's just say on the other side of the aisle. Yeah, we're talking about, what are those guys who are probably going to be ascribing to the, oh, he's so downtrodden because he happens to be of this race versus this race. I have to give him special accreditation because he happens to be of African American persuasion. I have to give him special treatment. Yeah. So anyway, way, shape, or form, which we found ourselves, this guy did originally have $1 million bond. That was reduced down to $250,000. Now the other dirty little secret is, well, they tried to do it on fundraiser that they tried to do on GoFundMe. They were like, oh, hell no, dude. You're raising something that has to do with something for violent crime, not want. And they killed it. Had $165,000 raised. They killed it. So then they put it on Give, Send, Go. And he raised somewhere in the order of almost $500,000. This gives you an idea of just how much people are going, oh, this poor downtrodden kid, this, that, and the other thing. What about the guy that he zapped? Where do you think his family is right now, looking at basically having to bury one of the twins, of which they have two, and probably, the more a-hole the group of the people that could possibly be saying anything stupid would say, well, there's always a spare. Yeah, well, that's not exactly the way in which you want to live your life. Supposedly the guy that he killed had a 4.0 grade point average, was indulging himself upon track and field so he could get faster in football, and really had probably designs on playing professional ball. This dirtbag, of which we have to say, we don't care what color he is, because I will call them as they are. He is a dirtbag, rifling through people's stuff, doing common thievery, and they're trying to give aid and comfort to this guy just because he happens to be an African American. That is weak sauce. And I gotta tell you what, man, it is nothing but sound guy. No, it's really one of these things. This guy needs to get charged very, very strictly upon murder one. And there's a reason why I've said this. I've gone back and forth, believe it or not, with my brother of all people. And the thing about it is the difference between murder and manslaughter, even though both statutes make mention of the phrase recklessly. The first one being murder versus manslaughter is with intent versus, like, the second one, manslaughter, being accidentally, recklessly. The first one being you just basically pulled out a knife and you said, I don't give a crap, shank the guy. Now, if he doesn't get anything less than murder 2, I will be very, very surprised. However, because he said, touch me again, you'll see what you get, that is malice, forethought, then action. That's murder 1. That is forethought before taking an action, and also involving yourself upon a crime of passion to remove yourself from the living on somebody else. That doesn't slide easy, okay? This guy might have a little bit of, he might be in jail and having to deal with a little bit of, sound guy. He's not gonna get snoo. No. Yeah, he's gonna get, I hate to phrase it like this, but he might just get,
Come on, squeal.
You sick little monkey!
Yeah, I don't think it's going to work out for him. He might just get a little bit of, wee! Yeah, more than a little bit of wee! At the very least, he is looking at this is Texas, too. Texas does not play. No, they don't play with. Okay, no, they don't play with monkey feces. I don't think anybody wants to play with monkey feces. Anyway, oh yeah, well, the whole Rittenhouse thing. Well, Rittenhouse basically, he's zapped a couple of pedophiles, told another guy to knock it off. The other guy basically, got a completely jacked up arm. I think they pretty much learned their lesson not to jump on a Rittenhouse. How do you make a Rittenhouse? Well, 3 shots and there's no chasers. Let's see. Scrolly. I love the Babylon Bee. I cannot do this justice. The Babylon Bee is such a palate cleanser sometimes for just the way things are, and the normal ethos of society at large. So Babylon Bee being Babylon Bee. China retaliates against terrorists by putting worse fortunes in the fortune cookies. Like the picture says, you will not go very far in your life. I love the Babylon Bee. Yet again, there's another one they had, and this one cracked me up. In yet another cruel blow to China, General Tso's chicken will now be renamed General Don's Oriental Chicken Nugs. And there's a picture of a carton of Chinese food and like a very kind of like, Chinese menu looking picture of like Donald Trump with like a Fu Manchu mustache. General Don's Oriental Chicken Nugs. Oh man, these guys, I cannot do it justice. Sometimes the Babylon Bee is just comic gold. This one kind of cracked me up. So Trump is offering a 90-day pause for countries not retaliating in tariffs. However, China got slapped down with 125, to which China said, "Oh yeah, 134." And Trump's like, "Okay, 134." In the meantime, I read a secondary news story, and I cannot do this justice, but there's like some major Chinese ports, and all you're seeing is like they're stacking cargo containers. Like the big shipping boxes, basically the steel boxes they put on container ships, they're getting stacked up. Their places are getting full. Needless to say, there is no cargo ships pulling up to the port and saying, "Hi, load us up, we're ready to go." No, those guys are getting loaded to the gills, and they really, truly don't know what to do with all the excess that is building up currently in the Chinese ports for cargo. I've often said, and this has been what I've bounced around more than a few times. All Trump has to do is say, "You know what? I'm going to leave the tariffs where they are right now, but I'm going to add a 90-day proactive, retroactive, no cargo shall be accepted from China," and that's it. Any boat that is currently en route from China, you're going to have to hold station off port. Now, I know that's going to really hose the shipping companies, and that's really going to screw up a bunch of companies, but, the whole front-loading thing that all these guys have done, trying to buy like crazy, simply gave China a little bit of a, little kick before, the bite in the bag actually hit. That might actually not be such a bad idea to say, you know what, 90 days retroactive, proactive, no ship from China ports in the United States. Give me 1 second here. Let me scroll. And this is the funniest part, is China's like, Trump asking for trade fairness is hegemonic and bullying. This is so typical of communists and socialists. Getting them where they live, they'll whine about unfairness. 200% tariffs, anyone? Let's really make it, make a serious, interesting thing here. This one I found completely interesting, and it's coming in from truthpress.com. So a data analyst has now uncovered the GPS data linking smartphones to the Chicago protesters to multiple demonstrations. Kind of like that whole, AOC and Bernie thing that they keep kind of floating around going, "We need these guys to run." Well, no, you really, truly don't need them to run, but it's funny when you say these things. So it's now come out to be that they've done some technology, basically the computer going, all right, let's just see where this IP was versus where this IP was versus this IP, basically getting pinged on the cell phone towers, because the dirty little secret is, even if you don't have location turned on, it knows where your phone is. The only way it won't know where your phone is if you put it in an RFID bag turned off. Then it won't know. But otherwise, it knows where you are at all times. Even when it goes, "You should turn on location so I know where you are." Yeah, well, that's nice, but you don't even need to do that. Excuse me 1 second. I'm just checking something real fast. See if there's any work to be had. No. So if I don't have any jobs pop up, I'm not going to cry, because I had a fairly busy yesterday. Anyway, so way, shape, and form, as we find ourselves, is there now actually tracking the smartphones to go, so are these career protesters, or is this actually truly an organic event? And they've been checking it out and looking this thing over, and they're going, it's really kind of fake. It's really not real. And, oh yeah, these guys are the same guys. Yeah. So I love this opening quote. quote, "It's really hard to overstate just how different the environment is for Democrats now," said New York Times' Maya King. She proclaimed from a, quote, "boisterous rally," end quote, for Harris in Atlanta, where Kamala was joined by rappers Megan Thee Stallion and Cuervo Amigos. Quote, "It's the clearest illustration of how different the Democrat presidential campaign is under Harris and how much she's emerged as part of the Democratic coalition that has yet been checked out. Over and over again, it's the same argument. Look at the energy, the vibes, the lines. It's the same group of guys going from place to place." So anyway, they basically now check this out, and they've seen a huge quantity of these guys are professional protesters. Yeah. So like the whole Bernie Sanders thing, 34,000 people, not together, not this political rally there since 2008. The message is clear. No to authoritarianism, no to oligarchy, no to Trumpism. We make this fight back. It's now unto Tucson. Those were 34,000 guys they hired. The other thing about it too is also when they checked the numbers, GPS only detected 7,498 mobile devices in the area. So they're overinflating the numbers and they're hiring the same people to go where they go again. Yeah, he used the demographic data, which was age, gender, income, education level, that sort of thing. Psychological data, it dives deep into a person's lifestyles, values, attitudes, interests, personality traits, social class, activities, and how they make purchasing decisions. It came up unbelievably, like, very, very exactly almost the same guys. Yeah. Additionally, by cross-pollinating each device with other devices regularly within a close proximity to the target device, we are able to build a detailed profile on each target. He said he added that identified 6 groups that are behind driving turnout to these events: Disruption Project, Rise and Resist, Invisible Project, Troublemakers, the Democrat Socialists of America, and the Muslim Brotherhood. Isn't that interesting? Also identified 11 additional groups paying for protests, demonstrators, and riots, many of them linked to foreign bad actors in countries funding terrorism. Yes. As for those detected by GPS, 92% are identified having attended 5 or more Kamala Harris rallies, Antifa, BLM, pro-Hamas, or pro-Palestinian protests. That's not 34,000, Bernie. Well, it's the truthful thing in which I just stated. It's truthful. It's not. Oh, no, it is sincerely monkey feces. You just, land down. Wait, what sound? Oh, land down. Oh, I think he's trying to say he's a butthole. Okay, so we're talking about Bernie Sanders. Okay, so all right, I think he's trying to say that Bernie Sanders is monkey feces in a butthole. All right, thanks, sound guy. We're good. We're good. I got it. I got it. Anyway, so basically, this will come out to be that modern technology. You know what these guys are. You know who these guys are. You know when these guys pop up from place to place. And you know when they're simply just throwing around a whole bunch of... Okay, so they're throwing around a whole bunch of monkey feces. Thank you ever so much, sound guy. Matching tariff, China tariffs. Well, okay, jump in the room there for 1 second. Patriot Fever was saying any country doing business with China has a matching tariff to China tariffs. That would actually be a very good step. You basically would just say, Trump can even say this going, look, you're either with us or you're not with us. If you're with us, put a similar tariff on China. And China's just going to go, what? That they will have absolutely no way to deal with this, and they will just be going, wow, just,
What?
yeah, they'll be going,
What?
yeah. Before long, there's gonna be stuff piling up, and if it doesn't ship out,
What an incredible smell you discovered.
okay, yeah. Anyway, So incredible smell. Thanks, sound guy. So anyway, it's going to be piling up, and it's not going to be able to do anything, and these guys are going to get hosed. And yeah, exactly. Like Pedro Fever said in the room. If you're not with us, feel the tariff we put on China as well. Well, there's some countries. I think we're just maybe a little bit better in terms of it's not like they are so completely playing games with us, kind of like just China is. I mean, China is just. Okay, they really tend to protest. Okay, I Polonius, I think thou doth protest too much. Exactly, they tend to go. Well, we're the Bobby Badasses in the room. You can't tell us what to do because we're just all that. You can't tell us what to do because we're so Bobby Badass. But really, the biggest thing is they are throwing a whole bunch of okay, yeah, they're throwing caca. I'll allow that because, Joe Caca is no longer in office. Oh, I think he fell again. Anyway, so and we're not talking about. Okay, Joe Caca is no longer in office. Thank you, sound guy. We now know this. But the thing is, it's also kind of like smacking him over the head with a sledgehammer rather than just going, get the point. And I think that's one of the things I find very interesting about Trump is he doesn't just throw those things out there. He really, truly means it. It's like, okay, if you do this, I'm going to do this. I'm not playing around. And China goes, yeah, right. Biden didn't do that stuff. You guys won't. Oh, you did it. I told you I was going to do it. Yeah, so he does it. And then they're going, oh, you won't do it again. Okay, I guess you meant it. You're being bully and hegemonic. Chinaman. Those guys really, truly, they just really don't get it. I mean, there's more stuff going on here, and it's being interesting. I did find it interesting, though. There's supposedly a federal judge issued a ruling on the White House ban on Associated Press saying, First Amendment rights, they got to be in the room. Okay. I think they're going to be in the room, but they're going to be like way in the back there, man. Like way in the back. I'm talking like way back there. Like so far back that I think it really doesn't even truly matter because it's just going to be like, oh yeah, you in the front. What are you saying? Yeah, Associated Press, you're not going to get it, okay? No, you're not, sound guy, I don't know what the heck you're trying to, oh, the horse kicked him out of the room. Okay, I get it. I got it now, thank you. Sound guy, I got it. Redundancy sometimes is the mark of a low intellect there, sound guy. Yeah. That's not the right finger for your number one, okay? It isn't.
Oh, no.
No, it is not the right finger.
Oh, no.
No, it's not the right finger. Anyway, so scroll. So the judge says you gotta have Associated Press back in the White House. Okay, they're going to be way the hell in the back. And I would make sure that they never, ever, ever, ever get called. And I would defer to all the other guys who are pretty much like, like the blogger guys and like the smaller venue people. I would talk to them first. Associated Press, just compare notes. You just walk up to that guy going, hey, what did he say about the so-and-so? Kind of like almost like you're taking a test and the guy's like cribbing your notes. Yeah. I think that's where that one's going to go. Scroll. Scrolly. Scroll. Got a bunch of memes in here. Scroll. I'm not going to go on to it too terribly much, but I actually do need to make mention about the helicopter crash that took place in New York City. From what I've seen so far, and some of my first instincts was something called shaft bump. So literally when you look on a helicopter, there's something called a swash plate. And what the swash plate does is, as the blades are going around, it's almost like a merry-go-round or like a carousel. So as the blades are going around, there's like a bump, and the bump steers them up or steers them down, and that's actually what pulls the helicopter forward, makes it go backwards, side to side, or hover in place. It's making the blades oscillate at certain points in its rotation, and the blades aren't actually doing this, but the swash plate is underneath. You'll see like the little rods that actually steer the helicopter blades the whole time. If you slow the blade down, you literally will see them doing this as they're going around. Well, underneath that, and that was a Bell 206, which is a pretty universally well-known, decent helicopter. Not the fastest, not the biggest, not the best. Decent. I mean, decent enough that pretty much you could put people in there, and it's got a really good safety record. Usually 9 times out of 10, or 99 times out of 100, nothing. And even more than that, it's been very, 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 very reliable. This helicopter actually did a safety check, and it was perfectly fine. Well, anyway, what I was saying about something called shaft bump. So imagine, if you would, this is the shaft coming up from the helicopter itself. The rotors are attached to that, and the what they call a mast. There's literally like a circular and a almost like a ball joint that allows the rotors to move around as well, because while they're also flapping around, they're changing their orientation to some degree to make the thing pull forward, pull backwards, obviously pulling to the sides. And in hover mode, it's basically kind of counteracting, the motion of the helicopter. When you ever seen a helicopter flying and it's like banking into a turn, it's not like the plane is actually making it bank. It's actually the case of the rotors are pulling that way, and centrifugal force is pulling the helicopter out. Like, basically the guy has to lean in the turn on a motorcycle, or the way a car leans outside in a turn. It's the whole centrifugal force thing. It's not like the thing is banking like an aircraft. There's 2 old jokes that go on about like helicopters. Number 1 is helicopters don't fly; they beat the air into submission. Then the other old joke is helicopters don't fly as an aircraft; they actually fly as a fully assembled flotilla of thousands of parts, all in the same area. That's the 2 jokes about helicopters I know. Now, technically, there's a running joke in the military, and it's dark humor, and they refer to something called the Jesus nut. Literally, that is the part that attaches the helicopter blade to the helicopter, and if it pops off and you crash and burn, you meet Jesus. Now, on this helicopter, I think there's 3 transmissions. There's a main transmission that comes off the gas turbine, literally like a little mini jet engine, and it spins this transmission that then takes power and sends it up to the rotor and sends it back to the tail rotor. The tail rotor is essentially just a vertical rotor that keeps the thing from spinning, because if it didn't have that, literally the helicopter would just spin out of control, because it would have nothing to counteract the actual rotor on top. So the tail rotor gives side-to-side control and stabilizes the helicopter as it's flying along to keep from flat spinning. Now, the 3 transmissions that are on board, there's the main transmission, there's a tail transmission that either slows down or speeds up that speed, then there's one that goes up to the blades. So there's the main transmission, and there was a transmission that was on the rotor of the plane itself. Now, when the accident actually occurred, that rotor assembly left the helicopter with the transmission still attached. Now, I was thinking right off the bat something called shaft bump. And that's literally when the main post going up to the helicopter that the rotor's attached to, the rotor interacts with something, or the pilot does some wicked maneuver, and the swash plate comes down, hits the mast, and bumps it, and literally makes it snap in 2. The Bell 206 does not have shaft bump problems at all, and that's been something that's been very well noted. It just doesn't do that. Excuse me 1 second there. So now they're going on to, okay, why did the blade separate from the helicopter itself? Why did the entire assembly separate from the helicopter itself? Also, there was some degradation and deterioration of the aircraft as it was going down before it even impacted into the water. Like, literally, the tail boom sheared off of the plane. which normally does not happen unless it's like, it's coming down, it does a really bad landing, and it hits something, and then the tail boom will literally break off of the helicopter. That says to me something catastrophic took place. I don't think it was an engine failure, because usually if the engine fails, the transmission will freewheel. And then you put yourself into something called a glide. So literally, you take the helicopter and you stomp on one of the foot pedals that steers the tail rotors. You stomp on that, you hold it down to the floor. So you're making the thing fly straight no matter what it thinks it wants to do. You're making it fly straight. And then you have the controls that control the main rotor, and you're now in a dive and a glide path. So you're now gliding in and you're saying, okay, this is flat enough, this is clear enough. I got to land here because I have no more power keeping me up. The only thing that's keeping me up right now is speed. All that's called auto rotation. So as they're coming in, you literally keep your speed. Just before you touch the ground, you do something called a flare. You pull back on the stick and you use whatever energy you have left in the rotor spinning to bring you up to a point of slowing down before you crash into the ground at high speed. You do a quick flare and boom. It's not a pretty landing, but it's better than coming down at 200 miles an hour or 140 miles an hour, or whatever your speed was at the time of incident. And, of course, gravity being gravity, 32 feet per second squared, it's not going to be a good time going down out of control in any plane. So all those things going catastrophic, that says to me something major broke. So the helicopter did do a safety inspection. It passed the safety inspection. And, of course, all lives on board were lost. And we're now in the process of waiting for the FAA to go, okay, we found enough pieces to put the puzzle back together, and we know why this happened. However, there was another aspect to the flight that was taking place, and the guy was flying, and the technology in the airlines and, of course, the military is you basically have two phrases. One is Winchester or bingo. And Winchester or bingo means I'm out of gas. Or Winchester means I'm low and I got to get back. Bingo means I am done. There's no more gas on board. I am now flying on fumes. Supposedly, he was flying that aircraft. I think it was like the sixth flight, and he was on the seventh flight, and he was saying, I need to come in. I need to get gas. Well, even if that helicopter ran out of fuel, it never, ever would have dumped the main rotor like that. That is something else entirely, and that is technology that just doesn't exist. So anyway, way, shape, and form, which we find ourselves, we're now currently waiting for more information. To all those persons that passed on board, hopefully you made a short trip to heaven. Wow. I would not wish that on anybody. Scrolly. I cannot do this with justice. It was a Facebook video, and unfortunately, I'm not going to play it because every time I play a Facebook video on YouTube, YouTube just goes, okay, and here's the video, and you're just seeing me going, and there's no sound because they automatically cut it. But I cannot do this with justice. They are now kicking around the idea of a Bernie Sanders and AOC party for the 2028 presidential ticket. The only thing I got to say is, please run those two morons. Please. There's no way in the world that somebody could go into Congress or Senate or whatever. I forget what, I think it might be a state senator. But anyway, so AOC went in with like a 630 credit score and broke. I mean, like broke. Now she's worth like $30 million. How does this happen? How does she go from destitute and broke to, rich? Supposedly Bernie Sanders is a really hugely self-professed socialist / communist. He actually took his wedding honeymoon in Russia when it was still communist Russia. He has 4 houses. He ain't broke. How he's managed to accrue these things, I have no flipping clue. My sinuses are acting up again. Just give me 1 sec. I'm not blowing. I'm dabbing. I'm not blowing. Anyway, so those 2 idiots think they're going to do something, set the world on fire. Please run them. It's going to be glorious to watch the whole, the whole thing just go kablooey. Wow. quick runoff. Of course they keep going on about us putting the tariffs on Canada so horrible and horrendous. People don't really think about this. So the Canadian, there's 50 of them, the highest Canadian tariffs on U.S. products pre-2025. U.S. butter, 313%. U.S. butter with milk fat, 313.5. Concentrated cream, 295%. Peanut butter, 205%. Milk, high-fat milk, 265. Dairy spreads, 275. Blended dairy powder, 270. And they're all in like the high hundreds until you get down to turkey, 163%. Turkey cuts, back up, 248. Chicken, 238. Chicken frozen, 249. The lowest thing I've seen here is wheat, 49%. So pretty much the average you could say here of all the Canadian tariffs I see on this list is at least 95 to 130%. That's the average. Ridiculous. Bloody damn ridiculous. Scrolly. That's more redundancy on that one. Scroll. Oh, this one cracked me up. This is one of these things remember I've always said, don't ever put anything out there that you really truly anybody else to say, utilize, or, speak of. This is classic. So, Hillary Clinton in 1994, she said this, quote, "We could use someone like Donald Trump as president, someone who could not be bought or changed." Hillary Clinton in 1994. Oops. Oops. Yeah, coming back to bite her on that one. Scrolly. I really, truly annoyed sometimes when they do this gaslighting crap on the other side of the aisle. And I just hate gaslighting and BS stories no matter what. So, this is coming from truth.com, and they put out this story. Good morning, it's Saturday, April 12th. Top stories. Glenn Beck announces tragic loss. So you're going, is this like his wife? Is this like his children? What is this? Well, it was a slow news day, and this is the kind of S-hit that really infuriates me. They do this for gaslighting. Oh, it's a traumatic event with a famous person. By the way, it was his dog. Yeah, it sucks. It's not like his wife, his kid. And Truth Press, if I did way of recourse, I'd tell you to your face to go, do something anatomically impossible. We don't need BS stories anymore. Just give us the real things and let us hash it out. Redonkulous waste of time. This one, I don't know if you guys heard about it or not, but supposedly is the reason why they wanted to give Social Security to illegal aliens. Voting rights. Not really that they were allowed to vote, but because they had Social Security, they could vote. So supposedly, numerous states are now going, oh, no, tapping out. Done. Not you guys, you're not American citizens. You're getting Social Security. You shouldn't be getting Social Security, and you for damn sure shouldn't be voting. So that one's getting found out, and these guys are getting tossed in terms of voting. This is a little bit dark, but I guess people really truly have to know this. But the official cause of death for Val Kilmer has come out. So documentation showed that he had underlying causes, included acute hyperhypoxia, respiratory failure. Translation, he couldn't breathe well. Chronic respiratory failure, one compounding the other. Squamous cell carcinoma at the base of his tongue. So he had a secondary cancer starting up after the previous cancer. And other factors listing in the death certificate were malnutrition and a tracheocutaneous fistula, where essentially what it was is basically a mass developing in his trachea, what was left of it, that was preventing him from breathing properly. Probably may have been trauma from the breathing tube, or may have been secondary trauma from, the breathing apparatus that was stuck into his neck. Sometimes those guys just don't last after they do that. Of course, he did have throat cancer, so that one being a fairly, virulently nasty one, it had a secondary cancer. And of course, his health was not good at that point. But unfortunately, it was just one thing after another compiling down, domino of events, and eventually took him down. Unfortunately, at the not too terribly old age of 65, considering the way some people last nowadays. So anyway, that was why, unfortunately, Val Kilmer passed. This guy, I cannot begin to tell you just how much this guy just checks all the blocks for ragingly huge piece of how would you say this, sound guy? It's just a no, he was one of them. Yeah, I like that one. That one. Okay, so he was just a large stinky pile of yeah. That describes him perfectly. So this guy basically was in jail, and he was a how would I say this without saying this? I got this one, sound guy. He was a
Oops, I dropped my gerbil.
Stop that. Stop that. Okay, he was one of those. Sound guy. Anyway, so he was trans activist, former Portland drag queen, dies in jail by committing a bad case of just
Shut the fucking...
no, he okay, he committed suicide, okay? That's what he did.
Sarah Connor.
Yes.
You
Sound guy. The sound guy, the Terminator did not come into jail, and
you asshole.
the Terminator didn't come into jail, sound guy. Believe that. He didn't come into jail. He took care of business on his own before they could do more to him in jail because he killed his father. What a piece of S hit. Yeah. This one I think is exceedingly cool. This one is going to be really, really short. So supposedly, Elon Musk with Starship is intending for Mars base. I don't even know what they're going to call it yet. But the SpaceX Mars base needs to be built. What's he going to use to build it? Robots. So he's going to send up a fleet of robots to build the Mars base before the people get there. Why? Because when somebody gets on the Mars and it's already set up for them, is better than going, okay, we have to open this box, take out tab A, insert it in slot B, inflate this, blow up that, turn this on, make all this other stuff work. The robots can be up there doing all this before we send person one to Mars. That is just smart thinking, and that's really the best way to explore Mars, is you have the stuff waiting for you before you even get there. They kind of made mention of that in the movie The Martian. Like, the ship that actually was taking Matt Damon back was actually automated. So the thing landed on the planet, and in the process, it was taking Mars' atmosphere and turning it into hydrazine rocket fuel and filling its gas tanks while it was sitting on the surface of Mars. Unadulterated, doing it on its own. Nobody needed to push any buttons. It was doing it by itself. That's just smart. Scrolly. This one I think is really kind of cool. You know, bouncing over to Trump again real fast. Supposedly coming in from Breitbart.com, America's winning NVIDIA is now planning to invest $500 billion to build an AI chip and supercomputer corporation plant in Texas. That's just too cool. Building that stuff here, that is completely blanking badass. I had a thought, though, and I posted this up on Facebook. Some people thought it was pretty funny, but I said, are ants nature's little Roombas cleaning up your house when you drop food as rewards for their hard work? It's another way of looking at it. I have heard that companies are getting snarky, sneaky, and they're trying to actually save DEI, but they're now calling it, instead of DEI, they're now calling it Chief Belonging and Inclusion. Yeah. Time to make them pay by not paying to use their goods and services. If you find out they have Chief Belonging and Inclusion versus DEI, all of it is reprehensible. Speaking of somebody reprehensible, there was a guy. His name is Barrett Evans at the Ford Motor Company, and his chief job title is Chief Learning Officer. Yeah, this guy, this blanking guy. So what did he do that was so obnoxious? Well, he posted up on his threads, which is essentially Facebook trying to say that they made something like X. But I love the irony on this one. This guy was exceedingly hitty to an elderly couple, and his thread's title is Chivalry and Champagne. Yeah, needless to say, this guy is a member of the Rainbow Warrior Troop, and he's just a butt bung of the highest order. So, he said this exclusively 3 days ago. Elderly passenger on my flight from San Diego yesterday enjoyed Fox News for the entire ride. Deplaning on a notice he and his wife are getting into airport wheelchairs to be pushed to the next gate. My filter was not functioning. Love to see you supporting DEI. And the guy said, not me. He said, yes, you. That wheelchair and the human pushing it are provided at no direct cost to you, rather by a subsidized cost attributed to every passenger in the airport, provided to level the playing field. For you. Not all passengers need assistance, but those who do, for whatever reason, this service ensures they can access the airport, navigate security, and board their plane safely with dignity. The cost being shared ensures the service is available to those who need it, not just those who can afford to pay extra. This is a real-world infrastructure of equity and action, acknowledging that different people have different needs, and crediting systems to support those differences fairly. No, douchebag. This is something offered because there's something known as the ADA, or something for disability. Yes. Affirmative action on disability, like ramps, wheelchairs being available, secondary help that can be gathered. Not just because DEI, you douchebag. Well, anyway, just give me a second here. It's coming out to be that people are now really flaming Ford, going, why do you even have this piece of hit on board your staff? He is unceremoniously just a piece of...
You asshole.
Yeah, that kind of person. Anyway, so... Really, sound guy? Really? Really? Excuse me 1 second here. So now it's come out to be that Ford now has a slight public situation going, oh no, we try to ensure that we're so happy with DEI and this butt bung is making things hard for us. I give him a life expectancy of maybe 12 to 14 days before Ford is like, you know what? Thor's hammer, you're out. Yeah, so if you decide to contact Ford, there is a contact number that you could utilize. As a matter of fact, I utilized it earlier myself, and I let them know in certain terms that I am not going to be buying a Ford product as long as he works for them. So, the phone number is 1-800-392-3673. Just keep hitting 0 till you get a live person. They'll be going, what is this concern? Recalls, this, that, and the other thing, this type of car, that type of truck, this, that, and the other thing. Just keep hitting 0. You'll get a live person. Be sure to let them know how you feel about Mr. Evans, Barrett Evans, talking snarky stuff to an elder couple who were doing nothing to hurt anybody except for simply watching Fox News. And this,
S-Y-Z-P-D-Q-O-U-812. Oops. I dropped my gerbil.
Yeah, that piece of, So him. Yeah, let people know in Ford Corporation what you think about Barrett Evans. Like I said earlier, that guy lost, like most of the bail, 250 now instead of 1 million for sticking the guy at the track thing. This one, I cannot do this justice. This is going to require. I get the background music here, sound guy. I cannot begin to tell you just how much this is really one of those. Well, you don't expect to see this. So supposedly, Disneyland, California, Anaheim, California, there was a Canadian running around naked. So the guy was high on drugs, and he went on top of Tiana's Palace, the Cajun restaurant inspired by the Prince and the Frog in the Park's New Orleans Square on Saturday. Oh my God, one person screams in the video. As a flustered Disney worker apologized and tried to usher the crowd away. Another clip obtained by ABC7 shows the man waving his arms in the air before he climbs over the restaurant balcony. Stunned witnesses describe what happened on social media. Ugh. Speaking of social media.
Come on, squeal.
I got that one, sound guy. No, that's not social media. That is just,
X, Y, Z, P, D, Q, O, U, H, 1, 2.
No, it is not. It is. Yeah, it's OEO. Yeah, seeing a guy like that in Disney is just. It's definitely OEO. Ugh. So that guy running around pulling out, well, old swinging Richard. Yipes. If you guys saw this one or not, but supposedly Bezos launched a female-only, air quotes, crew to go on the Blue Origin spacecraft. And I'm saying that again with air quotes. So supposedly the Blue Origin goes up 50 miles, spends 10 minutes in space, and then comes back down. Okay, supposedly 50 miles is the beginning of space. Nah, not technically. The beginning of space is actually 100 kilometers or 62 miles, not 50. 62 miles, I think, would endanger the craft because probably won't turn around and come back down so easy. And that's probably why they only have it go up 50 miles. So for a 10-minute ride going into space, that's not groundbreaking. That's a carnival ride, okay? And not a challenge to the continuation of space exploration in any way, shape, or form. It's merely sending up a bunch of famous people to go, hey, we put them on board the thing, hey! Yeah, well, setting up William Shatner, who was, not exactly young, that was kind of awe-inspiring. For a bunch of catty women, no, there's nothing about that is just completely awe-inspiring, even in the slightest extent. I'm sorry, that just does not do a thing for me, and I really, truly am. I'm not impressed. I'm sorry, I'm just not. I'm not impressed in the slightest. Something that did impress me though is this is one I can actually show on YouTube because it's not the complete device. But I went down and I broke down and I bought myself hopefully this kind of shows. Well, they're on sale now at a company called CDNN. And they are selling a Rock River Arms National Match 2-stage trigger. So essentially, a 2-stage trigger is different than like a match trigger. Match trigger basically takes up very, very slightly, breaks. The definition is usually breaks like a glass rod. It's just very, very, very take up, very, very take up, and then snap. So, literally when it's going to go very, very light, very, very crisp. The reset on it is usually only not much, like 1/8 of an inch. Then you're ready to fire a second round. Those things are premium stuff. This one being a National Match 2-stage. The way a 2-stage trigger works is it kind of feels like the stock trigger smoother. However, there is a long pull before you get to the stage, which was the first stage. So the first stage, you're taking up slack on the trigger. The second stage is you're taking up slack before the trigger actually breaks and fires the weapon. Now, they said sometime between 4.5 or 5 pounds. It's pretty crisp. I mean, it feels maybe a little bit lighter, but it's heavier than a match trigger. I'll give you that. However, the weapon that I have it in is something I refer to as my idea of a AR-15/M16 A3 A4. So a 20-inch barreled rifle with many goodies on board, and I'm not even going to list them all, but let's just say it is stoked to be essentially what it is what's referred to as a DMR, or designated marksman rifle. It's not a match gun, but it will shoot way better than what the other guys are pegging away on their stuff, because it's got a better trigger, it's got a decent scope on board, and it is set up to be a shooting machine. Believe that. This one's actually kind of cool. Also, they're on sale, so they're half price. CDNN, and you're looking for the Rock River Arms 2-stage national match. Next thing I'm looking at is I've gotten a couple of these guys on sale, and the pricing being what they are, I could not refuse them because they were a really, really good price. So the first one being a Monstrum Panzer. This one being the, let's see, this guy is, hang on a second, I need the peepers on this one. I hate small font nowadays. My vision's improved for distance, but I got stuck up close. This one being a 1 in 10, so a first field. So essentially what happens is, as you zoom in, the crosshairs get bigger. They're really bitty. So essentially you use this thing, like a crosshair scope with a lighted center reticle until you really, really crank up the power. But it is a lower power, variable scope. So it does have the 24 millimeter exit with a nice big eyepiece. So this is the one that I got. That's the 1 in 10. The other one I got, also for a ridiculously low price, couldn't refuse this one. This one is the Monstrum Banshee. So this one is lower power, obviously. So this one is roughly about the same kind of vehicle, but this one is a 1x6x24. The biggest difference on this guy is it's not first field. So essentially the reticle does not change size as you zoom it in. The first field, as you zoom it in, the reticle gets bigger. Like literally this one's kind of wild because you have like the dot, and as you zoom it in, the dot literally just disappears and becomes only like a center point. So that's kind of crazy. This one doesn't do that. This one's actually intended more for like basically like a close-up at personal carbine, probably more than 200 meters, maybe 3 if you really, really reach, but it's only like a 1 to 6 power. However, this thing on 1 power really is like a 1 power scope. It's very, very good in that regard. Both eyes open. It is very, very good in that regard. And I will do a comparison on these guys when I get opportunity. Panzer versus Banshee. And I don't know if I'm going to do them on an air rifle or if I'm going to do them actually at a range and just simply do a couple shoots and then like combine the videos. So I literally got to take these guys out and take them to the range and get stuff like that there. So I am still playing with glass and firearms. It's just trying to do the stuff right now with just the limitation on this. I can upload videos. That's not a problem. The biggest problem, of course, is actually doing the editing on them. Do I want to do them on the laptop or do I want to do them on the home computer? And then, of course, transferring files because I can't go on the internet with the home computer. Ugh. Oh, my word. Anyway, so that's the way, shape, and form on that one, and good stuff like that there. Coming on in 10 minutes time after, good stuff, and what do we have going on here, sound guy? What are you saying? What? Oh, okay. I want to turn on the music. What music are you talking about? Never mind. Anyway, folks, so I'm gonna break up with this one. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on a Tuesday. I know you got many other things to do, but decided to hang out with me. Get a gold star for your attendance, and I thank you so much for hanging out with me. And I'll probably put out something later this week. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do another one of these. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna break up with this one, folks. Eat good, keep attending rings. Always, you know what, you love it. I will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Keep safe and the good stuff like that there. I will see you then. Oh, where's the stupid button on this thing? I always lose it. See you guys next week. Catch you guys.